Outrage at WWE ticket prices, a new member joining The Vision, and more WWE titles vacated. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. This is a book called Inshittification. It just came out. Here's the Merriam-Webster definition of this relatively new word. Inshittification is an informal word used to criticize the degradation in the quality and experience of online platforms over time due to an increase in advertisements, costs, or features. It can also refer more generally to any state of deterioration, especially in politics or society. Similar forms include inshittify and inshittified. It's essentially a business practice that starts off with a great product but has the ultimate aim to exploit its users, fans, and even business customers to extract maximum profits. And I'm currently reading it to try to understand what's happened to WWE. TKO turned 2 years old last month after being officially incorporated on the 12th of September 2023. That was back during a turbulent time for WWE, as it was being wrestled from the mustachioed grasp of Vince McMahon both in family ownership and creative. In the first 2 years, now under Triple H's booking, WWE arguably became the hottest creatively and commercially than it ever had been before, riding the Bloodline and Cody Rhodes wave to a peak at WrestleMania 40. But 2025 has seen several big creative misfires. The John Cena heel turn, the return of Brock Lesnar, not going with Bron Breakker as a top star. The on-screen product has become stale and fan experience has deteriorated, all while the prices WWE charge have drastically increased. Before the TKO era, for the last decade, you could keep up with all of WWE for just $9.99 on the network, or through a $10.99 subscription on the cheapest Peacock tier. But now, to watch the main WWE on-screen product, you need 2 separate streaming services in the United States. Raw is on Netflix, which costs $7.99 at its cheapest, and PLEs are now on ESPN Plus Premium V2 Direct, which is another $29.99. That's $38 a month in the cheapest version, and, as Inshittification predicts, will only grow more expensive. HBO Max, for instance, where AEW TV streams, has just suddenly hiked its prices by $1 to $2 per tier. And 2 new news stories have the Inshittification getting more inshittier. Netflix signing WWE's international rights was an experiment for the streaming service. It had built its reputation on binge-watching series that were all released on demand in one go, not for weekly appointment viewing or live broadcasts that linear TV built its schedules on. So when Raw started airing on Netflix at the start of this year, it rather clunkily kept the commercial break segments for its international viewers. Those on the ad-supported Netflix tier in the US would get ads, but the rest of the world would see work-shoot interviews from Karrion Kross. Brian Fadden, a vice president at WWE, described this back in January. While you might go to commercials if you're in Texas, if you're in Italy, you're going to see us continue content. You're going to see the continuation of a match. You're going to see exclusive interviews with our talent. You might see an exclusive package that will only be viewed on that international level. According to Bodyslam.net, though, over the last few weeks, international viewers have seen commercial breaks during the Raw broadcasts on Netflix. This is because the company is slowly rolling out commercial breaks to all international markets, as the streamer becomes more and more like a traditional TV network. So now you can watch the ads on the ring mat of your wrestling match, go to ads in a commercial break, and come back to the ads on the ring mat, and then into a sponsored segment with the Cone Zone. At the same time, WrestleNomics has run the numbers, and they spell disaster for you at WWE live events. Since the TKO merger, ticket prices have doubled. In a staggering graph adjusted for inflation, WrestleNomics have tracked the average ticket prices for Raw and SmackDown television tapings from the 90s through to the present day. As you can see, it mostly hovers around the $50 to $60 mark, with the highest relative price actually coming in the early noughties. But the moment the TKO merger is made official in September 2023, the prices shot up to $70 the following year, and to $118 in 2025, essentially doubling the previous quarter century's average relative price in the space of 2 years. But all live event tickets have become really expensive, you might say. It's because of Spotify or Ticketmaster. It's definitely not to do with the insatiable greed of Taylor Swift. Well, no. according to WrestleNomics. While the rest of the live events business has become more expensive in the 2020s, it has only increased by about 25%, from $114 tickets to $140, far behind the 100% increase of WWE. Oh yeah, but those are bands and comedy, right? What about sports tickets? That's the one that's got the most expensive. Again, not as much as WWE. NFL ticket prices have declined year on year in 2025, according to The Athletic. NBA tickets have increased, but more in line with the 20 to 25% of live music. This could mean that WWE was simply pricing its live events too low before the TKO merger. If you believe the cost of something should be the maximum amount people are willing to pay, then that's arguably currently correct. WWE are still selling more tickets than ever seen at these hugely increased prices, having their third year of consecutive growth of attendance per show. The demand is still matching the expensive supply. WWE also changed their live events business model under TKO, essentially scrapping any B or C town house shows and only running the more premium TV tapings and tour dates. Supply has been restricted, which will often push up demand, and the quality of the shows, TV versus random untelevised live events in Corpus Christi, has increased too. TKO president Mark Shapiro, however, thinks there is still work to be done. The prices aren't yet high enough, as he told a Goldman Sachs conference just last month that he wants the ticket yield to get to the even higher UFC returns. What do you think about WWE's ticket prices? Let me know in the comments. WrestleNomics interestingly compares this to AEW's US ticket prices, which have clearly fallen in demand from the CM Punk highs of 2021-2022. They were $58 in average in 2022. Now they're 15% lower at $49. But as we saw with WCW, it doesn't matter how bad or good you make your wrestling show. Sometimes your survival comes down to the large corporate overlords at the very top. AEW's biggest existential threat in the next few years isn't WWE counter-programming, Jon Moxley's Death Riders, or even Disco Inferno. It's the absolute mess that is their parent company of their TV network and streaming service, Warner Bros. Discovery. Discovery bought Warner Bros. In 2021, in what can be best described as a snake trying to eat an elephant. The eaten was far larger than the eater, and there is zero brand similarities between them. Unsurprisingly, it hasn't worked. So they're currently trying to split into two companies. One with all the cool or new stuff like movies and Batman and HBO and streaming, and the other with all the lame and old things, like linear TV. AEW straddles the two. Its big money deal, which provides the majority of AEW's revenue, is with the lame and old side of the company, TV rights to Dynamite and Collision on TNT and TBS. But it also has a deal with HBO Max, the cool and new half, for its TV and pay-per-view streaming. Now WBD has issued a press release that has the line, "They are doing a review of strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder value," which is business speak for "someone please buy us." Paramount Skydance, which will start a 7-year rights deal with the UFC from January, has reportedly already made a lowball offer that WBD turned down. Netflix and Disney are also rumored to want to buy WBD. If Netflix wins, it's unknown what that could mean for AEW's future. It has a TV rights deal with WBD that runs through 2027 with an optional 2028 extension, but if Netflix wants to put everything in one place, like Disney Plus did with its purchase of Fox, surely WWE would block AEW from appearing on the same platform as them. Thank you again for indulging me talking about business and numbers for 7 minutes when all you want to hear about is Mr. Iguana. You were very good and you sat very still, so I'm gonna give you what you want. But not you, Jeff! I know you skipped ahead in the business story section watching right now. You have to go back and watch the last 3 minutes properly. No, not in double speed, in 0.75 speed, because you have wasted everyone else's time, so we're gonna waste yours. But for everyone else, Mr. Iguana's next WWE match has been announced. It's Mr. Iguana. He's got an iguana! This weekend we'll see the next NXT PLE Halloween Havoc. In Tuesday's episode, TNA's Leon Slater and NXT's Siobhan Evans, who for me have the most exciting in-ring chemistry of anyone in the world right now after that awesome Bound for Glory match, apart from the finish, said they should form a tag team for Saturday. This brought out La Parka and Mr. Iguana, who accepted their challenge. But that's not the only weird thing on Halloween Havoc, because the Hardy Boys enter interrupted a Dark State promo with a video showing them walking around the Hardy compound, where we saw Senor Benjamin tending the garden, the faction of Hardy children, Rebby Sky. You can probably tell where this is going. They walked into the Lake of Reincarnation and emerged as Broken Matt and Brother Nero, which means their NXT tag title match with Dark State this Saturday will be a broken rules match. Before we continue, here's a message from Rob Van Dam.
Hey everyone, Rob Van Dam here. Did you realize that my brother Sabu was filming his last days? All the way up until he passed. He was working on this documentary. It was really important for him to share the most intimate moments of the real guy dealing with everyday real life, especially this part of his life, while he was training for his last match. I hope you'll check out the new Sabu documentary, available at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. While you're there, if you sign up, you can get extra materials such as a shoot interview from Luke and Ollie and the director's commentary with Joe Clark and me, RVD.
Not every segment built future plans on NXT though. Some scuppered them. Sol Ruca addressed the crowd with Zarya and NXT General Manager Ava alongside her, where she revealed she suffered a knee injury in a tag match against Charlotte and Alexa Bliss on last Friday's SmackDown. She doesn't know how long she'll be out of action for, so she's vacating both her WWE Speed and NXT North American titles. This means she won't be able to face Blake Monroe at Halloween Havoc for the latter, so Zarya will fight Monroe instead to decide a new champion. We don't yet know what will happen with the WWE Speed belt. Not that that really matters. This isn't the only sudden change WWE have had to make because of an injury. Nick Aldis has announced that Cody Rhodes will now defend his WWE title against Drew McIntyre at Saturday night's main event. Previously, that was supposed to be Drew versus Jacob Fatu in a number one contenders match. But Fatu is potentially out for the rest of the year due to a dentist procedure. He was written off TV last Friday. And there's also Seth Rollins, who suffered a shoulder injury against Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel, forcing WWE to fast forward creative plans by 6 whole months. Have Bron Breakker shockingly betray Seth, vacate the World Heavyweight title, and then just do the least exciting follow-up possible by having CM Punk versus Jey Uso. Seth has made his first social media post since undergoing surgery. Photo of him with his left arm in a sling sipping coffee, wearing a Dusty Rhodes American Dream t-shirt and the Chicago Bears cap with the caption, "Caffeine and clarity. See ya on the other side. Peace fingers emoji. P.S. I love football." It's all a ruse. He's costing CM Punk the title in 10 days confirmed. Before Seth's injury, the reported plan was for Austin Theory to also join the Vision faction, who would round out the heel team with Brock Lesnar for Survivor Series War Games. Paul Heyman has been a fan backstage of Theory for years, despite him not working in multiple versions on the main roster. WrestleVotes have now corroborated that, reporting, sources indicate there are still voices within the company pushing to keep Austin Theory involved in creative plans, even after the recent shuffling caused by Seth Rollins' injury. The idea of Theory joining the Vision was at least discussed, and he still has internal support moving forward to reappear on TV in a significant manner. Theory hasn't wrestled since the 14th of July episode of Main Event, where he lost to El Grande Americano. Of course, Bron Breakker should be the World Heavyweight Champion by then, but WWE screwed up one of the hottest angles of the year. Watch me rant about this week's episode of Raw by clicking the video on screen now.